Hello, this is Aaron Mean of SG Gaming Info, and welcome to my video review of World of Warcraft Legion. For me, Legion marked a return to Blizzard Entertainment's popular MMO, World of Warcraft. I originally started playing World of Warcraft shortly before the first expansion, The Burning Crusade, and I eventually stopped about halfway through the game's third expansion, Cataclysm. Therefore, for me, Legion was all about seeing if it was worth playing World of Warcraft long term again. And frankly, Legion left me feeling mixed. My experience started strong, but after I hit the new level cap of 110, the positives began to erode as I spent my time waiting 30 plus minutes to get into a dungeon and running around completing world quests. So what does Legion offer? Legion offers a brand new class in the form of the Demon Hunter, the ability to wield legendary artifacts, leveling changes, running an order hall, increased level cap, 6 new zones, 10 new dungeons, 3 new raids, improved PvP, and more. The main focus of this expansion is the Burning Legion, who have once again set their eyes on Azeroth. The Legion has established a beachhead on Azeroth in an area known as the Broken Shore, and so, as one of Azeroth's greatest heroes, you must gather your allies and defeat the Burning Legion. To defeat the Legion, you must go to the Broken Isles and collect the Pillars of Creation, ancient artifacts that will help Azeroth defeat the Legion. In terms of setup, the story is interesting. A powerful foe is coming to destroy the world, and you need to gather important objects scattered around unknown lands. But once you get past the premise, Legion falls flat. To me, Legion has the potential to be interesting, but the story isn't told extremely well. For example, we see the remnants of the Alliance and Horde hatred that was invigorated after the Horde seemingly left the Alliance to die on the Broken Shore. But nothing really develops. In terms of story, Legion is great from a lore perspective, but from a story perspective, it wavers between poor and decent. So moving away from the story, let's talk about 5 of the 6 new zones. What makes new zones interesting is how Blizzard decided to make leveling up in them. In previous expansions, it would follow a linear progression of zone to zone as you level up. But in Legion, Blizzard has decided to allow you to go to any of the 4 leveling zones and have the zone scale to your level. For example, if you are level 104 in Stormheim, you'll be fighting level 104 enemies. Personally, I like the zone scaling as it makes leveling more challenging. Apart from the Legion invasion of Azeroth and the new zones, another major addition to the game is the Order Hall. The Order Hall is a class-specific area where you train and work with champions of your class in an attempt to defeat the Legion. Since you are training champions of your class, that means you are their superiors. The reason for this is due to your deeds from the previous expansions, and the new class-specific artifact weapon. These weapons are the symbols of your class and include the likes of the Ashbringer for Paladins and the Doomhammer for Shaman. These artifacts are special as they will be your main weapon for the entire expansion, as each artifact weapon has their own progression system. The progression system on the artifact weapon involves unlocking traits by spending artifact power that can be collected by completing missions, killing mobs, and more. Now, while I said you train and work with champions, what does that mean? Well, if you played the previous WoW expansion, the Order Hall is essentially a scaled down garrison. In the Order Hall, you can recruit soldiers and send them along with champions out on missions to gain experience, items, and more. Apart from this, you can research your artifact to increase the amount of artifact power you gain and upgrade your hall. While the Order Hall does contain similarities to the garrison in Warlords of Draenor, the Order Hall is less intensive as it mostly exists to further the expansion story, and as such is only a place you need to occasionally visit. So while you're exploring the world as you level, is there any outdoor content apart from questing? The answer is yes. As you explore the new zones, you can encounter rare mobs that drop pets, artifact power, and new armor. Going past rare mobs, there are also chests that contain artifact power. Once you hit max level, there is even more outdoor content available in the form of world quests. World quests involve you travelling the zones of the Broken Isles, completing special quests that appear in your map. These range from killing X number of mobs to killing powerful elite enemies. The max level of Suramar also has an exclusive piece of content that involves gathering ancient mana. Gathering this mana is important to the zone's story as it stops the Nightfalling from exhibiting symptoms of drug/mana withdrawal. So while I've talked about what you do while leveling and exploring the zones, let's talk about the dungeons. But before that, a quick line about the combat. Combat in Legion is very much the same as previous expansions, so do not expect any major changes to the game's combat system, although some animations have been improved. Now back to the dungeons. In total there are 10 dungeons, 5 of which are for leveling, while the remaining 5 are max level only dungeons. And yes, there are heroic and mythic versions of each dungeon. In regards to dungeon difficulty, they range from easy to challenging. The difficulty really depends on how competitive the party is and how quickly they can react to a boss's ability, but add-ons such as Deadly Boss mods make that a lot easier than it should be. For those wondering about raids, they currently are not available yet. So at the new max level of 110, what is there to do? Well, there are the previously mentioned dungeons, outdoor content, order halls, and raids once they are unlocked. Apart from what I mentioned, there is the reputation grinding and completing quests in Suramar. And of course there is sitting around doing nothing. In the end, the max level content is similar to that of any previous expansion endgame content. However, Blizzard does make an effort to make max level content to be a more diverse and enjoyable experience. Now before my conclusion, let's look at the graphics and audio. Legion offers improved draw distance and improved stability for older computers. My computer is rather old, and despite some frame rate drops in crowded areas, I managed to run the game at a smooth frame rate. In terms of audio, the overall sound quality is nice and there's a lot of voice acting, although some characters sound incredibly dull. So, in conclusion, World of Warcraft Legion is a decent expansion with an interesting premise and content. However, many grind-heavy elements of World of Warcraft still remain. With that said, I give World of Warcraft Legion a score of 8 out of 10. That said, the game's pros are outdoor content, zone scaling, and the artifact weapon. The game's cons are, despite an interesting premise, the story is mostly forgettable, and max level content gets repetitive quickly. Thank you for watching. Please like, favourite and subscribe. For more gaming information, please visit sggaminginfo.com. And don't forget to like our Facebook page at facebook.com/sggaminginfo. And follow us on Twitter at sggaminginfo.